That is the question that I get asked most since I have been here in the USA. Why did you leave Australia to come over here to America? Let me explain it to you. And if you're just joining us for the first time at the Medic on the Move YouTube channel, welcome. And if you're a frequent watcher, I know that's not the right word, but if you frequently watch videos, welcome back. Good to have your company. Why did I come to America to be a paramedic? There's a couple of parts to this story. I've just got to keep track of the time because they have a time limit on these videos. Okay, my story first. As you may know, I had been a paramedic previously in Australia, but that was a long time ago, and then decided to come back to it for my final professional chapter and come to America and then explore the world working as a paramedic after that, before I decide to retire. I don't think I'll ever retire, but who knows? So my reasons are different as to why I came here, because the intention was always for me to come to the USA when I decided that I was going to go back into EMS. And for those of you that aren't aware, EMS, Emergency Medical Services. And if you ever see HEMS, H-E-M-S, that is Helicopter Emergency Medical Services. But I digress. So for me, I used to watch with the family back in Melbourne back in the 70s, a television program, and it was on a Sunday night called Emergency. And that was about two paramedics at the Los Angeles Fire Department, Station 51. And that was when I was inspired as a young kid to think, oh, I want to be a firefighter paramedic. So I did become a paramedic back in the 90s, the mid-90s, and I was also a firefighter back in Australia as well, but never were the two together because that's sort of very much an American and maybe Canada process or model that gets used for EMS. So numerous careers, and I must do a video and talk about that at some other point because I do get asked that a lot as well. Anyway, decided to come back, and then I saw that there was an opportunity while I was at university to come to America and work for Acadian Ambulance Service. And that was hugely appealing to me. Acadian do it brilliantly, I have to say. As soon as I saw the advertisement on the notice board at university, started to research. I went to the AussieMedic.com, Aussie, A-U-S-S-I-E, Medic, M-E-D-I-C, all one word, .com. Go to the website and have a look, just out of interest, if nothing else. As soon as I went to the website and I watched the videos and I read the information, it looked very, very comprehensive and well organised to me. And then I started to engage through emails with Brittany Savant, Justin Back, even the president of Acadian, who is an Aussie from Western Australia, and he's the president of Acadian Ambulance over here. And everybody I started to interact with via email, my interest just grew and grew and grew. And everything that was promised was delivered. And for those of you that have watched numerous videos that I have done here on Medic on the Move YouTube channel, will know that I speak very highly of Acadian. And the reason that I do that is because I'm 56 years of age and I have worked in the media, I've worked in emergency management, I've worked in EMS, I've worked in state government, and I've worked as a consultant in the private sector. And so I have a broad experience to draw on in terms of what organisations are like, how they're led, how they're managed, and how they operate. And based on all of those years of experience, I can say, hand on heart, all honesty, that Acadian Ambulance is the most effective, well-led, well-managed and well-operated company that I have ever worked for. Life Aid, who I worked for as well just before I came over, would be at number 2. But the difference is Life Aid is an emergency medical organisation in Australia, but it's a lot smaller. In fact, very small compared to Acadian. So that's sort of why I put Acadian as the top billing. And do they have their issues? Well, of course they do. Every organisation has its challenges and has its problems. But I'm talking overall when I look at leadership, management, operations, system, processes, infrastructure, equipment, and everything else. Acadian, definitely number 1. This is not a paid advertisement. They have not asked me to speak about them. This is just me being honest with you. And why I'm saying it is because everything I read when I was in Australia about the opportunity to come to America and work for Acadian as a paramedic, everything that it said and promised, it delivered. And then when I got over here, the support, encouragement, and everything about being an employee coming particularly to a new country was, I cannot fault them. Absolutely brilliant. So I'm here because I'm living out a childhood dream, but for all of the other paramedics that have come over here from Australia, it is a different reason. And the reason is that in Australia, to be a paramedic is seen as a highly sought after, glamorous, high prestige job. It gets paid very well. It has a lot of respect within the community, within the health sector, and just in general. So it's very highly regarded. It is very well paid in Australia. 10 weeks paid annual leave a year. The retirement benefits are great. And it's just a great job for everything that offers, everything that it offers as well. The thing is, though, Australia is a very small place in terms of population. It's a big landmass, but everybody predominantly is sort of near the coast of Australia, in the big cities, and so therefore the ambulance services that are almost all state government services, apart from the Northern Territory and Western Australia, you have Ambulance Victoria, Ambulance New South Wales, Queensland Ambulance Services, Ambulance Service, ACT, South Australia, so on. St John Ambulance operate in the Northern Territory and Western Australia. Ambulance Tasmania down in Tassie, good old Tassie, great spot. And so highly sought after job, very well paid, good conditions, and that's why it's a popular job. Now, to be a paramedic in Australia, you have to go to university and do a 3-year Bachelor of Paramedicine, and then you apply to get a job with one of the services. Now, here's the problem. Because it is popular, people are going to university, they are completing their university degree, and as an example, these statistics, don't quote me on this, but between 3 to 4,000 people every year are graduating from university with a Bachelor of Paramedicine or similar in terms of name. And the statistics that I have been told and I have read unofficially are that less than 10% of those people will actually get a job with one of the services just because there aren't the positions. The ambulance services will all be slowly growing and expanding to meet the increase in population growth. And there's the attrition rate of people who are retiring, but at the end of the day, there aren't the number of jobs available for the number of people who are graduating. So let's be conservative and say that 3,000 people are graduating every year from universities in Australia. Now, if the statistics are right of what I've heard and read, that 10% or less of those people are going to get a job, then that means of the 3,000, 300 people will be getting jobs, and the other 2,700 are doing what? Now, even if we said out of the 3,000, half of them were getting a job, well, it would still leave a lot of 1,500 people at the end of every year wanting a job. Now, that accumulates because if every year we have this massive number of paramedics in Australia that are graduating at university, but there aren't the jobs, then that bucket, that pool of people who are seeking a job is getting larger. So that's unfortunate for people in Australia who would like to be a paramedic. But my friend, a couple of my friends who I went through uni with when I went back, to do the degree the second time, or paramedic studies the second time, some of them have already got jobs. We all finished at the end of last year, and some of them have already got jobs in Australia, and that is wonderful. But there will be lots that don't. So, America, the UK, Canada, and the United Arab Emirates are 4 big countries that saw a commercial opportunity to go to Australia and recruit student paramedics or graduate paramedics and entice them to go on an international experience and work as a paramedic overseas, have the whole cultural, international, living in a different country experience, maybe stay, maybe move somewhere else, or go back after they have fulfilled their 2-year. It's generally a 2-year contract that you are expected to fulfill. So that's what is available for those people. And my story is just a little bit different because most of the people that are graduating would be, in their 20s, maybe 30s, maybe a couple older, but generally not around my age. Some people say to me, can't believe you went and did all that study and you're launching back into EMS when, aren't you thinking about retiring? Not a hope in hell. So, why do Why am I in America from Australia? You now understand why. If you are an Australian graduate of a Bachelor of Paramedicine or the like, and you haven't been successful to date in getting a job in Australia, I would seriously encourage you to go to aussiemedic.com and have a look at what Acadian offers, because I can attest to everything that you read and more is actually what happens. Now, in a little bit more detail, Acadian will pay for all of the costs of the visa process, because you're applying for an E3 work visa for 2 years to come to Australia. And there's costs in that, and so you have to do it from there. They will pay for all of that. They will pay for, Acadian, will pay for your flights to the US. And I even had sort of excess baggage, because obviously, you're moving a lot with you, although I really only had 2 bags and a backpack. And but they paid for the excess baggage, which I was not even expecting. Flew in to the US, they came and picked me up at the airport, and from day one of me arriving here, I was on full-time wage, being paid, which is great. We all need money, of course, don't we? So that happened. Then I had to spend 2 months in Lafayette, which is near the headquarters and the National EMS Academy, NEMSA, to do all of the orientation and onboarding. Through that entire time, Acadian pays for my accommodation. So I was staying at the Drury Inn and Apartments in Lafayette. That was all paid for. The meals were all provided there. And so I didn't have any costs for that. Everything was provided. I then had to undertake the bridging program, which I started in Australia and finished over here, which was online, to get the technical diploma of emergency medical technician paramedic, because you need the American qualification. They pay for that, and that's attained through the South Louisiana Community College. They paid for me to get my road license, driving license here. But basically they pick up the tab for everything, and you're being paid full time as well. When I moved from Lafayette up here to Covington, they then paid for the hotel accommodation until I found where I am living. You can choose out of Texas, Louisiana, Mississippi, or Tennessee to work, and I could go on and on. So I know that there are other organisations that facilitate people going overseas to work. I don't know anything about them. I can only talk from experience as a mature person who has had a long professional life, and a period of that was in management positions. And when I reflect on everything that Acadian promoted on the aussiemedic.com website, the videos, all the information, and then my experience through the process, they are an absolute 10 out of 10. And I would encourage you to do it. And the other big benefit is when you come over here, American paramedics work at a higher scope of practice than paramedics in Australia. So when you're here, you will be working at the intensive care level or scope of practice, which is another huge benefit as well, because when you decide, or if you decide to go back to Australia, you have that experience and that skill set that you have been working with. So Acadian Ambulance in America, Texas, Louisiana, Mississippi, and Tennessee, go to aussiemedic.com. Have a look, and it's a big thumbs up from me. So that's all I have time for in this video. Now you know the answer to why I left Australia to come over here. Talk to you soon. I'm about to go for a walk on this beautiful day in Cummington. I'll catch you soon. So in the meantime, like, subscribe and share. Send me an email, send me comments, and I look forward to seeing you on the next one. So in the meantime, happy trails, keep smiling, stay healthy, and bye for now.